What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? Thank y'all for being here so much. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for calling into my show. No, I'm just playing, but you already know what it is. We're going to talk about today two stories. The first one we're going to talk about is CNN wrote an article recently, finally admitting that people who are overweight or obese are at much higher risk and of much more severe disease and even death from COVID-19, according to new studies. And this is not to make people feel bad. We love everybody. We don't care how big, small, skinny, tall, fat, whatever. It's all love here. But they're shaming people, saying you can't come into our store if you don't get this pharmacy product. And the science is not equivalent, because it would be like saying you can't come into my store because you're too large, so you're at more risk. And I understand. I guess their thought process behind that, but it's messed up either way. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. But more importantly, I don't care. I don't care if you're as big as Big Pun, who was a massive rapper who died. He was like 6, 7, 800 pounds or something. That dude was enormous. But Big Pun, Puerto Rican rapper, one of my favorites. But anyway, we don't care if you're as big as Big Pun or as little as Lil Pun. We got a story for you. If you live in the United States of America, or if you don't, still interesting. Common foods and common food additives and ingredients that are legal in the US based on FDA standards that are illegal in other parts of the world. Some are illegal in Canada, some are illegal in the European Union, some are illegal in Japan. I want to go through this list with you and have people start to realize that a lot of people that come from Europe, that come from the Middle East, a big complaint that I hear of people that I know is like, yo, your food is trash, your meat's trash, like it doesn't taste as good as where I'm from. And I want to go through some reasons why that's possible. Of course, the FDA says it's safe and the FDA says it's fine, but a lot of other countries disagree. Once again, reminding everybody that although they claim that every scientist everywhere on the planet all the time agrees with everyone ever, everywhere, or else you're a conspiracy theorist, it's clearly not true. Lots of different countries have different food rules because that's what is supposed to happen when you have different governments and I guess, science thought processes rather, but you get it. Let's talk about it. These are organic bananas, or they claim to be organic. Who knows? They could have lied to me. Those are the stories of the day. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I want to say this real quick because I did a live stream the other day talking about Gab and Getter and BitChute and Rumble and all these new platforms. I've seen that Getter, although they claim to be free speech, I've already seen them taking down posts, and there's some interesting connections there. And I'll probably post a little bit there, but it's creepy to me seeing that Getter is already eliminating posts that are not that bad, just, maybe a little bit unnecessary. But, I don't know how free speech they really are. Out of all those that I've mentioned and stuff, I use BitChute, I use Rumble. Everything's been good to me so far, but I tend to trust the Gab CEO more than everybody else. They've been deplatformed. They use their own servers. They're really trying to build a parallel economy. And it looks like Getter, although it's a better alternative than Twitter, it's a pretty bad sign that they're already banning posts, that are not that bad. So, I'm a little disappointed at seeing that, but whatever. I'm constantly disappointed when it comes to social media and politics. There's nothing new. All right, let's talk about the first story real quick. It's a CNN story. I'm sorry. I know you guys don't like CNN here. I just want to get it up on my computer real quick. The title of the thing, it says, "Can weight loss help protect against COVID-19?" So this is an article that they put out 9 hours ago. I just want to show y'all because they'll probably try to like flag me for hate speech or something. So I'm just holding it up so y'all can see it. This is CNN. They said people who are overweight or obese are at much higher risk and more severe disease and even death from COVID-19. One new study suggests, and then you can see right there, can weight loss help protect against COVID-19? I didn't write this article. They did. But they're finally starting to admit as if it's some sort of new discovery. I guess they're referencing a new study themselves, but it's like, whoa, it took us till January 3rd to really figure this mystery out. CNN said in this holiday season, when the average American can easily pack on a few pounds, experts say there's another reason to pay attention to your weight, COVID-19. People who are overweight or obese are at much higher risk of much more severe disease and even death from COVID-19. One new study suggests that losing weight can reduce the risk. I'm not going to drown you out with this annoying article. You could read it yourself if you want, but obviously being in better shape is better for almost everything. It's less weight on your organs, your body, how it all functions. It's pretty obvious science that it's better to be in better shape. It's just a good boost for pretty much every part of your health. It took them 2 years to admit this. I mean, maybe they had articles that admitted it earlier. I believe they had a few, but overall, they closed down gyms, they closed down beaches, they closed down spas, they closed down sports, they closed down children's school. Childhood obesity is spiking as a direct result of their authoritarianism. The question you got to ask yourself when you look at obesity and the correlation between being obese and higher risk of severe disease, hospitalization, death with COVID-19, and pretty much every disease to a certain extent, being obese is putting you at a higher risk of some sort. It's not helping you if you're like 200 pounds overweight. Even if you have cancer, I doubt that's like good to have that much extra weight. But anyway, the point being is this: we need to start talking about and changing the narrative from the left wing saying locking down is amazing, the right wing having Donald Trump, the Candyman, saying, I did it, I saved the world with Operation Warp Speed. We need to reframe the narrative and start asking these people, Democrats and Republicans, everyone complicit, how many people did you kill? How much collateral damage did you cause by shutting down gyms, shutting down beaches, shutting down sports, and shutting down schools, and shutting down the country, and letting obesity spike, opioid overdose spike, fentanyl, all this bad stuff? How many people did you kill? Because I'm trying to figure out, did you guys kill like 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, like 5 million people worldwide? Did you kill tens of millions of people? I'm trying to figure it out because I know you definitely killed people because you're making everybody fatter, more afraid, more stressed out, more paranoid. These are things that don't lead to good health. And we need to start talking about the collateral damage to the amount of people that they hurt and killed through their idea of shutting down exercise is a good idea to fight a virus, in which exercising actually protects you against the virus. When you're in shape, you're better suited to deal with it. This was always obvious, and they just don't care. These people are professional pharmacy salesmen. They don't care about your health. They don't care about your safety. They don't care. They could fact check all they want and lie and censor all they want, but they are reckless. They don't look at the collateral damage to what they're causing. We've talked about it a year. And when it's all said and done, I hope they study how many people they hurt with their Orwellian draconian lockdowns. And they're still doing it in Canada. It's just disgusting. But let's move on. I want to talk about the main story, which is really interesting to me. This is all going to come from a Chicago Tribune article, by the way. This is where I'm sourcing it. It's an article they wrote on November 3rd, 2021. It says, common U.S. foods that are banned in other countries. If you don't want to watch this whole live stream and you only have a minute, go to my Instagram, instagram.com/dreamrare. And I did a minute little TikTok, Instagram reel sort of thing, just going through this, like speeding through, and hopefully it inspires you to do more research. But if you got some time, let's hang out and go through all of the U.S. food ingredients that are banned in other countries. And then we could ask ourselves this question, and you could answer it individually on your own. Is our FDA correct or are other countries correct? Because these are two different policies and for a bunch of different things. All right, let's start. Without further ado, here's something that's banned in the United States, and they used a picture of Arby's to display it. I guess it's used in Arby's sourdough bread, croissant, and French toast sticks. It says, the Chicago Tribune, I'm sourcing all this from Chicago Tribune article, the fast food chain uses chemical azodicarbonamine as a whitening agent and a dough conditioner in its baked goods. Although its use is decreasing in the United States because of concerns that it's a carcinogen, the FDA still permits it. It's banned in Europe. There's one food that's banned in Europe. This is meat with I don't even know how to say this, ractopamine. In the United States, farmers use ractopamine to increase lean muscle growth in livestock, including 40 to 60% of American pigs. Man, that sucks. I said that sucks, not this article. Anyway, elsewhere in 160 nations, including European Union, Russia, and China, they ban the use of this drug in meat production. So it's fine with the FDA, but in 160 nations, ractopamine, in order to jack up the the livestock, it's illegal. Chicken that's been chlorinated, chicken produced in the United States gets washed in chlorine to reduce its risk of spreading disease and illnesses like salmonella. This practice is banned in the UK and the European Union because it promotes unsanitary farming practices, according to this report. So that's not legal elsewhere. BVO, it's called brominated vegetable oil, and also bromine, I believe, is another stuff as well. But brominated vegetable oil, BVO, they use it as an emulsifier in things like Mountain Dew and other sodas. You should look up when you drink a soda, see if it's in there. BVO is banned in Japan and the European Union because it, like I said, contains bromine, the element found in brominated flame retardants, which can build up in the body and potentially lead to memory loss as well as skin and nerve problems, according to this Chicago Tribune article. Let's keep it moving. Dairy with RBST, RBGH hormones. Milk in the United States, unless marked otherwise, is treated with either RBST or RBGH, which are artificial hormones that stimulate milk production. The FDA says there is no difference in milk produced by cows treated with that hormone, but in countries like Canada and those in the European Union ban it. It's another food, or I guess, way of creating food that's banned in other countries. Here's another one: farm raised salmon. A lot of them in the United States contain something called astaxanthin, which gives it its coral color. But salmon containing this petrochemical is banned for consumption in Australia and New Zealand. We'll keep it moving. Wheat thins apparently add BHT to their packaging. That chemical is banned in the United Kingdom, Japan, and parts of Europe. That's also found in a few foods. We'll do it as I move on. A lot of the food dyes that they use in America are banned in other countries. Skittles, allegedly, according to this Chicago Tribune article, uses yellow 5, yellow 6, and red 40. I'll go through some other foods that contain those as well. And that is apparently banned in Norway and Austria completely. And for infants in the European Union, foods that contain dyes must carry a warning label. So they're a little bit more cautious there. Nabisco Ritz crackers, apparently, the third leading cracker brand in the United States. It says that they use partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil, which is a trans fat that's currently banned domestically in many other countries like Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Iceland, Norway, and Denmark, banning that. Stovetop stuffing. I'm wondering if I cooked that because I was trying to make stuffing on Thanksgiving. Hopefully I didn't use that. But anyway, it says you can make stuffing in just 5 minutes with this popular craft product, but the mix contains BHA and BHT, which is a suspected carcinogenic and impaired blood clotting. It says this has caused these preservatives to be banned in the United Kingdom, Japan, and several other European countries. So many countries ban that, but the FDA says, no, it's safe and effective. It's good. It's fine. Frosted Flakes, Honey Bunches of Oats, and Rice Krispies. Apparently, these popular breakfast cereals contain BHT, a flavor enhancer. Once again, that has been long studied for its carcinogenic properties, and the evidence is inconclusive, says this article, and it's banned in Japan and the European Union, but America says it's safe once again. Just to continue, genetically engineered papaya. In the United States and parts of Asia, farmers are cultivating virus-resistant variants of this fruit. These genetically engineered offshoots are legal to eat in the U.S. and Canada, but illegal in the European Union. Gatorade, I guess some of them contain food dyes yellow 5 and 6, which are banned in some countries. Just to keep it moving, bread tainted with potassium bromate. Bread tainted with potassium bromate is added to bread dough as a strengthener that creates a high rise, reduces baking time and cost, and gives finishing loaves a bright white color. But the chemical is also linked to cancer, nervous system damage, and kidney damage. Potassium bromate is banned in the United Kingdom, Canada, Peru, and many other countries, but is still ubiquitous in many American bread products, including bagel chips, rolls, and even breadcrumbs. Fresca, apparently, the Coca-Cola company product, contains bromine, which is, BVO, like I said, is banned in certain countries. And if you go to that article, I'm just kind of giving you a highlight. You can research more, but maybe I'll get to a few more. It says in this article also, Coffee Mate, if you guys use Coffee Mate, trans fats like partially hydrogenated soybean and cottonseed oils and Coffee Mate are linked to heart disease and were officially banned in the U.S. as of June 18th, 2018. However, they still linger in the U.S. food supply. They're also banned in many other countries: Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Iceland, Norway, and Denmark. I guess the science isn't settled if they changed it in 2018. It says that drumsticks, the frozen dairy desserts, use carrageenan for its texture and its ice cream, but that additive is derived from seaweed and can affect the human digestive system. The adverse effects have caused European Union to limit products like that and baby food and others. Let me see if I can find a few more. Pop-Tarts. Apparently, Pop-Tarts, some of them contain food dyes yellow 5, 6, and 40, which are deemed domestically safe, but banned in the European Union. Farmer John's pork breakfast sausage links have BHT in it. Like I said, that's banned in European Union and Japan. Lucky Charms, the colorful breakfast cereal that they obviously, market to children. It says it gets its rainbow hue by using yellow 5, yellow 6, and red 40, which must contain warning labels in the EU, and they're banned in Norway and Australia. Tostitos salsa con queso dip apparently has the yellow 5 and 6 in it. To me, this is just my opinion. It's like, does it really need to be the color you want it to be? Like, get over yourself. Like, they're adding dyes just to make it a certain color. Whether you think it's dangerous or not, it just seems a little bit unnecessary to me. But who am I? I'm no FDA. Sunkist soda has yellow 6 and red 40 in it, according to this. Betty Crocker's fudge brownies, the popular mix, has some trans fats like partially hydrogenated soybean oil or cottonseed oil. Once again, banned. Pillsbury pie crust contains in certain areas both BHA and BHT. I mean, you can go through this article and look it up yourself. Hopefully this inspires you. I don't want to bore you with monotony, but there's a lot of food products that are very popular in the United States of America that are illegal in the European Union, illegal in Canada, illegal in Japan, and illegal in many parts of the world. I've spoken to people like Middle Eastern people who said like, yo, your meat is not meat. Like, you don't even know what meat's in America. I know people that have lived in Australia who said, even with all the tyranny that's going on in Australia, I still prefer to live here because they have better food than in America. These are things that I'm hearing. I haven't really traveled the world like that, so I can't really compare. Unfortunately, I was born in this country. Not unfortunately, I love America, but I guess I don't have the palate and the experience to really weigh in on what's better here. But one thing is for sure, a lot of foods that are legal in America are illegal, or at least you need to carry a warning label in other countries. Also, I know if you look at the health in America, I know when they talk about how great big pharma is, they always talk about polio, 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 polio. And everybody's like, well, polio disappeared. So that's why I just assume that every big pharma product must be amazing because of polio. This is like a talking point I always hear. It's like, what about other illnesses? I don't know where they came from or why they're happening. I can't point you in the right direction. But if you look at rates of autism, obesity, a lot of chronic illnesses, diabetes, heart disease, I guess I could probably name like 30 different illnesses that have not gone away. Cancer is an obvious one. These have not disappeared over the last 50 years, even though technology is getting better. Cancer went from something that was very rare to something that is way too common. And there has to be a reason. Why are more people getting cancer right now than in 30, 40, 50 years ago? What's the reason? Is it, this that you can't talk about, or this that you're not allowed to question, or this that they tell you is safe, but it's not? There has to be some sort of reason. And I just find it very suspicious that the Food and Drug Administration seems to have way laxer standards than a lot of other countries. And our country is not healthy. Look at pictures in the 1930s and the 1940s and 1950s. Obesity was not rampant. People didn't suffer. You didn't know every person that you knew was on 4 or 5 pills, had diabetes. Like, something's going on in this country. I think it's a combination of diet, exercise, etc. for sure. But diet being a big one, not just what people are eating. Like I talk about here all the time, I try to buy organic ingredients. I'm gonna give you an example real quick because a lot of people think you can't, you're not treating yourself. I like to take care. I like to eat good, and you just want to eat disgusting foods. Like, and this is not like an ad or anything, but here is a hot sauce I have. I love hot sauce. But if you read the ingredients, I read all the ingredients when I go shopping. I don't buy anything without reading the ingredients. I'm a weirdo like that. But anyway, it's like there's some weird stuff in hot sauce, and it doesn't need it to be in there in order to taste good. So this is my hot sauce. I love it. It's called Arizona Peppers Organic Harvest Foods. It might be a little more expensive, but the ingredients are organic red ripened jalapeno peppers, organic ripened habanero peppers, organic vinegar, sea salt, and organic apple cider vinegar as a base, which is much more healthy than a lot of other stuff. You'd be shocked that some like hot sauces have crazy stuff like high fructose corn syrup, this and that. It's like, it doesn't need to be in there to taste good. Just like when you drink a soda, it doesn't need to have brominated vegetable oil and high fructose corn syrup to taste good. Go get a soda with like regular normal cane sugar. It probably tastes better. Or, I like juices that are like fizzy juices that are made from organic ingredients. It tastes to me better than a soda. Like, if you make a really good smoothie, like you get organic bananas, You get like cacao, fresh cacao, you know what I'm saying? The one that's healthy for you. You put peanut butter, almond butter, even like cashew butter if you want, mix in some oat milk or some regular milk that's not disgusting and filled with a bunch of like disgusting stuff. Whatever it is, you mix it with cinnamon, whatever, and you make a smoothie. It tastes amazing. It tastes 20 times better than a milk smoothie from like IHOP, but also it doesn't make you feel like crap. You don't like your stomach isn't sick and you're on the toilet 10 minutes later. That's what it does to you when you drink these crappy milkshakes. So this idea that I figured out when I got older is everyone's like, oh, I don't want to eat healthy because I just want to eat good stuff. You can eat amazing tasting stuff without all the nonsense. Like if you eat an organic, healthy cow and you eat a burger, it tastes better. It's better for you than gosh knows what sort of alien meat they're feeding you at these fast food places. Not only is like the meat all messed up, but the bread is all messed up. It uses ingredients and whitener and shortener and that isn't even legal in a lot of countries in the world. Like they can't even serve that at McDonald's in certain European countries because it's illegal there. And Americans are just eating it up and nobody talks about it. The Democrats don't talk about it. The Republicans don't talk about it. People are fighting for Trump. People are standing up for Trump. He's selling vaccines. She's selling vaccines. The vaccine salesmen are yelling at each other and you got to pick a side. And I'm just sitting here like, what the hell are people doing? Like our country is being, systemically hurt in so many ways. Lockdowns are abusive. Forced masking on children is abusive and adults. It's psychologically abusive, physically abusive, mentally abusive. This is like we're being just beaten over the head and people are like, but he didn't mandate it, but it's for your health. And it's like, it's for your health from the same agencies that are way more lenient on products that don't need to be in stuff, whether they think it's safe or not. It's like, just drink real stuff. Can we get back to reality here and just get like a real pepper? I want a real pepper that was grown in the ground. You could tell me how great high fructose corn syrup and brominated vegetable oil is. I don't want it. I know what you're doing to people. You don't have to admit it. You could say that it's all amazing, but it's like, what's amazing? Nature, God, like planting, gardening, like that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Having your own farm, that's amazing. Not you guys making a factory farm and you're jacking up every animal to produce as much milk as possible, to make as much meat as possible. And I know they have to feed the world. I understand that. That's the counter argument. Well, there's so many people now, we have to feed the world. I get it. But at a certain point, when have we gone too far? In my opinion, we've gone too far for a long time. And not just in the food industry, but also in the drug and pill industry, where you have these business models where their incentive is to sell so many. That's why the average American is not healthy. The average American is starting to be obese. The average American's on multiple pills. That's for your health. I mean, if you want to think that, I guess you can or whatever. And I want to read something real quick. Food Pyramid Salon, believe it or not, actually did a great article on the food pyramid a couple years ago because people are like, you're not allowed to question the FDA. I mean, everything they say is safe and effective. Here's an article from 2015. Salon, believe it or not, did a great article. It says the FDA's phony nutrition science, how big food and big agriculture trumps real science and why the government allows it. Sugar and corn syrup have been pumped into the food chain, causing a dramatic increase in illness. Here's why. I'm just going to read this article. Respect to Salon author Richard Jacoby and Raquel Lomar. Great article. They said lie. The U.S. Department of Agriculture knows what should be on your plate. You know by now that sugar has been pumped into the food chain over the last 50 years, especially in the form of high fructose corn syrup. As a result, there's been a dramatic increase in a whole range of illnesses that manifest in different parts of your bodies, depending on your own genetic profile. All are caused by the same underlying impact of inflammation from sugar and the resulting nerve damage and compression. Medical professionals can be blinded by the bias of their specialties and miss the important connections linking these seemingly unrelated conditions, but like us, they're hampered by information linked to the partnership between the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the big agri complex. And they go through how, once again, I'll read the headline, the FDA had, phony nutrition science and how big food and big agriculture trumps real science. There's lobbying involved. There's corruption involved. There always has been. You look at the food pyramid, they're like, drink milk as a lot and eat bread a lot. They told people to eat bread. If you take control of your health and you realize what they're putting in the bread, like white bread. It's not like natural sourdough bread. I mean, the bread, if you go to the bread aisle, 80 to 90% of it, I wouldn't even touch anymore, purposely at least, or if I'm not out at a restaurant, I'm not buying this stuff for my house. They told people in the 90s to eat as much, like, oh, this is how many servings of bread. It's the most important thing. Just keep eating bread. It's like, do you want to die? Do you know, do you want to be like out of shape and like sick all the time? Like, then listen to that. Like, eat bread at like eight, I don't remember. It's like 8 servings of bread a day. It's like, what? Who came up with that? Look into the back of how they decided to do all this stuff. Drink all this dairy, all this bread, do it, do it, do it. It's like, is that really, now that time has aged, is that a diet that anybody like looks to? It's like the opposite now. Everybody's on keto and everybody's on like Atkins diet and things like that. It's like literally not that. But anyway, this is not health advice. This is not financial advice, but something is really sick going on in our country. And I hope that this inspires people to take a look at other foods and other things that are additives in our food that don't exist in a lot of other countries, and ask yourself, does America have it right? Are they making you healthier by allowing you to have all this access to these things? Or do other countries have it right? I know how I feel, and it's very frustrating watching people fall for this media propaganda and also political propaganda. They think they have to defend Trump. They think they have to hate Trump. They think they have to disagree with Ron DeSantis. They think they have to, their whole life revolves around defending Donald Trump, Operation Warp. Like, this is such a double party brainwash where nobody thinks anymore. It's like, this is a root level thing. Everybody eats, everybody drinks, milk, water, all this stuff. What's going on with our food supply? What's happening here? There's no conversation or discussion about it because people have been brainwashed into loving or hating political idols. And also, you have this new push for, like, I guess, modern day liberalism. You're just like obsessed with the FDA and obsessed with Pfizer and obsessed with Moderna and obsessed with the CDC, like this unhealthy, like, idolization of Dr. Anthony Fauci. And it's like, have you even looked into the history of any of these organizations? Nobody's perfect. I'm not trying to badmouth everybody there, everything they've done, but go watch an old clip. It's like Groundhog Day. I think if you could find it, it's Mike Wallace on CNN, I believe. Mike Wallace, he does a whole breakdown of a vaccine that they gave to the whole world, somebody who got injured by it, and then he starts talking about CDC corruption. It's like 30, 40 years ago, but it literally is like, it's just like so eerie because they had a whole report on it and they're like, this is what happened. We told millions of people it's safe. This is what happened to her. And that, like, we found that the CDC lied, and the CDC director's like, well, we didn't know. And Mike Wallace is like, well, we have an internal document that says that, like, these companies are not scot-free. And I'm not saying that everything they do is wrong and the FDA and the CDC is horrible, but when you look at these organizations now, they don't seem to serve as like a full-scale health organization. We'll talk about pills. We'll talk about vaccines. We'll talk about diet. We'll talk about exercise. We'll talk about food, and we'll try to make people healthy. That's not what I see from these agencies. I see that they're like glorified vaccine salesmen. In some cases, Moderna, the patent is being fought over by Moderna because the NIH, the National Institute of Health, thinks that they own part of the patent, and they might own part of the patent. We'll see how it plays out, but it's like they're not only like glorified pharmacy salesmen. In some case, they own the patent. The US government that's telling you how great it is. They have a clear, agenda. I don't know what else to say. It doesn't mean that every pharmacy product's bad. It doesn't mean that every pharmacy product's good. It doesn't mean that every food is bad or every additive is bad. But at this point, there's zero looking at what's going into our food supply. And I'll tell you, I've really taken a look at it over the last couple of years. I never ate healthy. I never cared about this stuff. Now there's certain things I'll never touch. I don't eat cereal anymore. Cereal's terrible for you. I mean, it's like, wake up in the morning and they have all these bull BS things on them. Like, oh, cereal, we're making you so healthy. We have vitamins. Yeah, I'm sure you do. But like, what is cereal? Look at the ingredients. Like sugar. It's like one of the top ingredients, sugar. Why would I eat sugar in the morning? Like, that's what I used to do when I was a kid because nobody told me this stuff. I had to learn it in my late 20s, early 30s. And it's like, I don't eat sugar in the morning. That's terrible. Like, that's what they're telling you to do. And they're advertising it towards children. If they care about health so much, why are they advertising sugar towards children? Why don't they cut that out? If they're so interested in authoritarianism, why don't they use their big government muscles to, eliminate the sales of unhealthy alcohols and products during a pandemic? Everybody's caught at home. Kids are getting fatter, adults are getting fatter, everybody's stressed out, and you're sitting on television watching alcohol, pills, and fast food commercials. How come they didn't flex their authoritarian muscle and say, you know what, we're in a pandemic, we're locking down your businesses, so we need to lock down McDonald's as well, or at least not let them advertise, or else that's going to lead to people getting fatter because there's not a lot of options and everything's shut down. They don't give a crap. How do people not know this? It's so crazy. It's like, how much more obvious could it be? And now 2 years later, CNN puts out an article and says they have a new study that says, I'm going to go in the study right now. This is on CNN. It says the obesity epidemic, they put this out 9 hours ago. The obesity epidemic has been a threat to Americans' health for years. It's the second leading cause of preventable death after smoking. With COVID-19, it becomes even more dangerous. One study found that 30% of COVID hospitalizations were obesity. It also says, moving forward, that people with obesity are 46% more at risk of getting COVID-19, according to a study from August. It also found that they are more at risk of getting really sick, facing a 113% higher chance of being hospitalized and a 74% risk of needing to be treated in the ICU, and perhaps most troubling, a 48% increased risk of death. Obviously, I don't know about these numbers, but obviously, we've been trying to scream this from the high heavens the whole time. You guys are shutting down children's sports. You're shutting down gyms. You're shutting down health facilities. You're shutting down people's access to resources. When you talk about Black and Latino and inner cities and, oh, we care so much about poor people and we care so much about the hood, it's like, do you know what it's like to live in Brooklyn or Harlem? You don't have a hot tub. You don't have a backyard. People in inner cities all over the place, and especially people in colder regions and stuff, they don't have access to all this stuff. So what happened when you shut down everybody's resources? Yeah, if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can make a video from your hot tub and be like, we're all in this together. But if you live in Harlem, you don't have access to a backyard. You don't have access to this stuff. It's literally not possible. And in many regions in the world, in the country, it's not safe to even go outside. If you live in a bad neighborhood, it's not safe to go out and jog, during a pandemic. So these scumbags, how many people did they kill by shutting down gyms? We have the data on obesity. We've had the data on what it does to you. And now we have the data that we didn't need if you have a brain, but even CNN has the data to say how much more at risk you are if you're obese. So what are we going to do about that? How can we incentivize people to lose weight? Well, I guess we could kick them out of restaurants and bars, right? We could kick them out of at a movie venues and New York Giants games. And, that could be incentive, right? Let's not let people in restaurants unless they lose weight. No, of course not. You would never do that because it's like a human rights abuse. People have the right to do what they want to their bodies to some extent. And you can't really dictate how big or skinny somebody is. That's really on them. But now all of a sudden, they could kick you out of a restaurant if you didn't get the injection, but not if you're obese. And I don't think that they should, but it's like, do people realize that they don't care about your health? They could have, I said that this was the first thing that I said in March. I couldn't tell you how deadly the virus was. I couldn't tell you what angle they were lying about, although it was obvious that something was afoot. But the first thing that I said, even when I thought that the virus was potentially even worse than it was, I said this from the very beginning before they locked the country down. I said, if they can mandate lockdowns, why not? If you can now, we're authoritarian, the Constitution doesn't matter, whatever, we're just going to lock you down and we can do this now because it's an emergency. If they have the power to lock you in your house or lock you out of your business or lock you out of your gym, then they have the power to mandate a workout. Blow a whistle, sound the alarm, everybody goes outside or goes in their living room and does 100 jumping jacks or 20 push-ups or as many as they could do, or sit-ups, or, runs in place or whatever they have to do. They can do that, right? Why not? They don't care. They never cared. Why not mandate a workout? I'm not for authoritarianism, but if you're going to go down that path, mandate a workout and watch millions of people be saved. They don't give a crap about your health. How obvious is it? How much of that trillions of dollars of printing that they do, did they give everybody a Peloton? Why not give everybody in the hood, if you like black people so much, why not go to these inner cities where people are more at risk because they're broke? Why not give all of them a Peloton? You got the money to give everyone $1,200. You got the money to say that the vaccine's free because you're using taxpayer money and subsidizing it. Why not give everybody in the hood a Peloton? Because they don't give a shit about how healthy you are or not. They don't care if you die of diabetes. They don't care if you die of heart disease. They don't care if you're being systemically murdered by not having access to good resources and good food. They don't care. Nothing. They used it all on pharmaceuticals that they themselves and their friends and their buddies and their lobbyist buddies. By the way, Big Pharma has been the biggest lobbyist in Washington for over a decade. That's who got the money. That's who got the power, not you. So it's like, if they can mandate all this stuff, why couldn't they mandate a workout? They could have. They don't care about health. They don't care about root level exercise and stuff. And if they can spend all this money, why didn't they give us clean water? Why didn't they, give us all vitamins? Why didn't they give us all, workout bands with $10? They could, with 1/1000th of the money that they spent on the CARES Act, they could have gave everybody in the country a workout resistance band. That's one of my favorite ways to work out, because I could go to the beach, I could go to a supermarket, I could be in a parking lot, and I could work out with my resistance band. That's one of my favorite things to do because it's mobile and it's light. It's not like carrying around a 20 thing weight. They could have gave everybody in the country a resistance band. They never did that. Why don't people understand this? How many people did they kill with their lockdowns and their Orwellian restrictions? And now they're admitting that obesity, you're at a higher risk, and they themselves admit that the pandemic restrictions made people bigger. Do the math. They're the ones hurting people, okay? Not us, not the gym fitness people and people like Joe Rogan who work out, exercise, are in amazing shape for their late 50s or mid 50s. These are not the people hurting everybody. We're trying to help people. We're trying to unlock people's mind and bodies so they don't just sit on the couch and listen to you idiots for 30 years and shove 50 pills down their throat and then, wonder why nothing worked out for them because they forgot about diet, exercise, mental health, and like the basic fundamentals of how to be, a legit healthy human being. It's unbelievable. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream. It is what it is. It's frustrating, but you can't help everybody, but you can help yourself. So, I'm not going to tell people what to drink, what to eat, etc. Talk to a health official or, a dietitian or doctor that you trust or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is not advice in any way, but for me, I tell you what I do. And, I am healthy and I am happy because I don't listen to a single word that these idiots say. I don't eat all the products that they approve. I have my own filter on life, and I refuse to be treated like a slave, an animal, and a abused show, circus clown for the rest of my life, like they're doing in Canada and liberal cities, because people are too stupid to realize that they are literally being abused and literally being systemically, ruined. Not doing it. It's not happening. Follow me on Gab. Follow me on all those things. Getter, BitChute, Rumble. Although I am disappointed in Getter, it looks like they're already censoring people. I saw someone on Twitter. His name was Reed Cloverdale. I've heard the name before, but I'm not too familiar with his work. I just saw he posted something on Getter, and he said, Ben Shapiro is a blank. This is a blank. He was just giving a little test. He was like, let's see if this is really free speech. He said some things. Nothing was overtly horrible. It was just kind of like a little troll joke to see if they actually censored, and Getter removed the post. So it's like, anybody that removes the post, it's not good. I want to say this real quick too, because I don't like to pick fights or anything, and that's not what I'm doing. But I am really tired of like fake Republicans acting like they're pro free speech and then playing the same rules that get our speech taken away. And for that, I want to highlight real quick. This is Dr. Daryl Scott. He's like one of Trump's advisors that works especially on I would say like Black American policies and stuff. He was one of the first Trump supporters, and Trump has him there all the time. He tweeted this today, and it's very annoying. He said, I'm tired of white conservatives like Marjorie Taylor Greene putting Black conservatives in a bad position by spouting racist sounding stuff and wanting us to defend it or her. She called outreach to Black voters pandering. I'm not standing next to that drivel. So I just want to say this real quick. Okay, we're fighting the left-wing authoritarianism, and you have Getter censoring people because it's hate speech. You have people high in the right wing saying, how are we going to police this stuff? And then you have Dr. Daryl Scott saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene is spouting racist sounding stuff. Not racist stuff. By the way, the word racist, what does it mean? This bottle's racist. This is racist. Racist is a word that means everything and nothing at all. Whatever you want it to mean, it could mean. If you hurt my feelings, you're a racist. But he doesn't even say she's saying racist stuff, which is a word that literally can mean anything. He says racist sounding stuff. Oh, it's not racist, but it sounds racist. It's a dog whistle. You might as well be a liberal at this point. These are the people in Trump's administration that nobody wants to question. Oh, dude, don't question Trump. It's not fine. These are people that he puts on a pedestal and passes policy with, who are literally yelling at Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying she's not saying racist stuff, but she's saying racist sounding stuff. What does that even mean? He doesn't even know. It's so annoying. And what did Marjorie Taylor Greene get banned for? Did she get banned from Twitter for racist sounding stuff? No, I believe it was medical misinformation, aka, pushing back against the narrative. Although I can't verify what she said or didn't say. So it's like, one of the only Republicans that I see pushing hard against medical tyranny. Marjorie Taylor Greene is in a top 5 position. She's one of the top 5 Republican congressmen or women going hard against medical tyranny. She gets banned because she's going hard against medical tyranny. And then Trump's advisor, Dr. Daryl Scott, calls her a white conservative who's spouting racist sounding stuff. It's like, you might as well put on an AOC hat and join the crew, or whatever they call themselves, the mean girls of the left wing or something. It's like, this is the Republican Party. Getter censoring people because of, a mean word they said. Trump's advisors saying, you sound racist. It's like, I'm so tired of this pettiness. It's so bad for discussion and intellectual conversation. And this is why I'm writing a book that's almost out. This is not a plug for my book, but I was finally inspired to write a book, not even based off myself. Let me tell you my story. Maybe one day, but I wanted to go at these words. I'm not using the word racist anymore. I'm not using the word anti-Semitic, sexist, xenophobic, conspiracy. These words don't mean anything. If you say, the water's not healthy in America, and I say, you're a conspiracy theorist, does that make me right? No. Or you say, I think that this is happening in the country. Well, you're just a conspiracy theorist. That doesn't mean anything. It just means I'm going to pretend like I'm better than you because I said a word, and now you're worse than me because I labeled you that. That's all it means. If someone has a bad conspiracy theory, calling it a conspiracy theory doesn't do anything. It's a fake way to censor speech, demonize your opponents, and not have to intellectually explain yourself. It's the same with the word racist. It's the same with the word sexist. It's the same with the word anti-Semitic. If I want to prove that somebody's being evil and wicked towards Jewish people, if I can't do it without using the word anti-Semitic, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. And that's most people who use that word. And that's all of these words, sexist, xenophobic. What does it mean? If you say the crime rate's high in a certain neighborhood and someone calls you racist, is the crime rate high in that neighborhood or is it not? Is it true or is it false? If it's true, then we have to have a debate on why. Is it systemic? Do people need to act right? Is it poverty? Is it the culture leading people astray by inspiring them to do this? We can have a real discussion, try to figure out why, but just saying racist just ends Marjorie Taylor Greene's racist because she says that people are pandering to the Black community. People are pandering to the Black community, but you can then justify it and say, we should pander to the Black community because we need to talk to them and people and get them to vote for us. Or you could say we shouldn't pander to the Black community in that way. We should talk to them in this way. There's a real discussion to be had, but just saying it just sounds racist to me when you say that. What does that mean? Every politician panders. I'm going to say that Republicans pander to white people and then underdeliver constantly. So does that mean I'm a racist against white people or I'm racist against the Republican Party? No, they pander to everybody. The Republican Party panders to white people, Black people, Latinos, women, and the Democratic Party panders to Black people, Hispanic people, everybody except for white people, but low-key white people too, because white people are nice. So they're like, I want to be like, I'm the next Malcolm X. I'm gonna be the savior. So everybody panders to everybody. Every politician is literally constantly pandering. The question is it authentic? Is it not? Do they deliver on their promises? Do they not? And you'll find that 9 times out of 10, they don't deliver on their promises. They very rarely mean what they say. And, that's where it is. So this idea that it just sounds racist when Marjorie Taylor Greene says it, it's like, it's so annoying because this is how they take away your free speech. And I don't know if it's true, but I think Wendy Rogers from Arizona, she tweeted, I'm just going to read it aloud, actually. This is what she tweeted about Getter. I can't verify that this is true, but I have to learn more, but I'm going to read her tweet. And, you could do the research if you want to find out if it's true or not. She said, my issues with Getter, Wendy Rogers said, it's funded by a Chinese national. Your followers aren't real. They import them from Twitter, and most of these accounts aren't on Getter. I know that's true. They inflate the numbers a little bit. So she said that they banned Nick Fuentes. Agree or disagree with him? This is wrong. The notifications are slow and don't update on posts. So it's like, is it true that they banned Nick Fuentes already? Like, what? I don't know what he said, but I did see Reed Cloverdale post something and it got taken down. It's like, how is this any different than Twitter? Because that's how they all start, and this is why when they banned Alex Jones in 2018, a lot of people were like, well, it's just Alex Jones. It's messed up, but it's just him. I was like, this is how they get you. They used to allow 5 years ago, 10 years ago, people, the most evil or annoying or non-likable groups used to protest and march in the streets, and people used to allow them, not because they agreed with what they said. Everybody understood, if they don't get the First Amendment, I don't get the First Amendment. If they don't get the right to protest, I don't get the right to protest. And then they took away Alex Jones, and then they took away Nick Fuentes, and then they took away Milo, and then they took away this person. Now they've censored tens of thousands of people. And you have Getter going to pop up on the scene and say, oh, I'm pro free speech. Just not Reed Cloverdale's tweet, but just not Nick Fuentes. This is how they start. And then these people get the power and they don't go backwards. Has any social media gone backwards and given someone a platform? Is Alex Jones allowed back on Twitter? No. Is Owen Benjamin allowed back on Twitter or YouTube? No. Have they ever retroactively gone back and been like, you know what? We should go back and give more free. No, they just keep getting worse. So if Getter's starting out by banning people on the right wing for being too far right, eventually you're going to be too far right because this is how they move. And eventually someone's going to be too far left and say something that they don't agree with and that bothers them. So how can you start a free speech platform and you're already starting to censor and ban people? And I see people respond to me like, well, Nick deserves to be banned. It's like, you deserve to be banned for being a dummy. It's like, this is so stupid. Like, he says things I don't like, then debate them. But here's the crazy part. Some of the dum-dums who call everybody else names, they're not smart enough to debate somebody like Nick because Nick's not dumb. You can say a lot about him. He's not stupid. So you have to be kind of smart to debate him. And a lot of people aren't smart. So they think, oh, if I knock him out of the way, then I'm right. You didn't explain yourself. Can you beat him in a debate without using all these buzzwords that mean nothing? It's like if I debated Alex Jones and I just said, hey, Alex, you're a conspiracy theorist. Ha, 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 I won. Ha, ha, ha. Like, that wouldn't make me the winner. I might impress idiots who watch like television and stuff and people that are like normies. But if I were to debate Alex Jones, I would have to, here's why I disagree with you. Here's the exact thing that you said that I don't like. Here's why I'm right. And that would be the debate, not like, oh, you're a racist conspiracy theorist, I win. Like, that's not a thing. And I just can't believe a lot of right wingers are doing it, but it's not surprising. I'm going to play a little clip real quick. This is like I said, Gab seems to be the only social media that understands this policy that I'm talking about. If you open the floodgates of censorship based on political identity, or rather, I would say even like a joke. Now, this joke's offensive. It's a gate to hell. Here's Governor Abbott from Texas trying to weaponize his legislation against Gab. He sat down with somebody. I wish you could see the clip. He's got an American flag and an Israeli flag behind him. And he says, Gab is a hate speech platform. Listen.
Anti-Semitic platforms like Gab have no place in Texas and certainly do not represent Texas values. What does represent Texas values is legislation like this by Representative King.
He opens the he says anti-Semitic platforms like Gab have no place in Texas, but what does have a place in Texas is my legislation. This is the Republican Party. There's thousands of Jewish people on Gab who create their own communities and don't see any sort of hate towards them. And then I'm sure there's, discussions happening that can be deemed as hateful, but to label the entire platform as an anti-Semitic platform, why not call Facebook an anti-Semitic platform? How about the multiple times that disgusting, evil shooters live streamed it on Facebook, live streamed it on Snapchat, there have been times that people have done wicked, evil things and live streamed it or filmed themselves on major social media platforms. That would be like me saying, well, I guess then Facebook is this platform because there's people who do that on Facebook. It's a left-wing platform because there's people who like Fauci, so everyone likes Fauci there. This is so disingenuous. It's insane. And this is why although I'm a registered Republican, I see the value in voting Republican. I don't want to end up like Australia. I don't want to end up like Canada. So I'll probably continue to vote for these idiots. But in general, I almost feel like right-wingers are worse or Republicans are worse than Democrats, not because of their policy, they're better, but they're the wolf in sheep's clothing. The Democrats are your clear rival politically. They don't agree with anything you agree with. They're trying to take away your freedom and disguise it as, anti-racism or public health or whatever. And you know that. But what a lot of people don't realize is these Republicans like Governor Abbott, Dan Crenshaw, even Donald Trump, a lot of times, they're acting like they're the savior of your political ideology. And then they're constantly just gatekeeping what it means to be free speech. Well, you could be free speech with us Republicans, but you can't say that, and you can't say that, and you can't post here, and you can't post here. So you're not pro free speech. And that's how you lose free speech. When you lose it for this amount of people, you lose it for this amount of people, and it's over. That's the First Amendment. It doesn't say, well, if you make fun of Michael Bloomberg, that's not okay. Or if you make a joke about Dave Chappelle, that's hate speech. Like, that's not what the First Amendment says. It's very clear. Freedom of speech, expression, I believe religion. It's not this little gatekeepy game. So in some ways, Republicans are almost worse because they gatekeep and we're going to save you. And they constantly disappoint. And when you look at the, advisors around Donald Trump, the policy he did, the people he puts into power, some people are very good. Some people are going to stand up. But a lot of these people, they're not even pretending to do the right thing. So that's why with my energy, I try to talk about health, wellness, exercise, things that are more important than politics, this whole stream. But also, I want people to hold the right wing accountable and not just clap, because these people are not planning to save you. It's a psyop dupe, wannabe like Pokemon, metaverse, reality. We're all patriots fighting the digital warfare. Yeah, great. We're all fighting, on a journey together. But in general, it's a lie that Donald Trump is Aquaman, and every time that what's his name, Scavino posts, it's a deep code that only you can understand if you surface 8chan. It's a lie. Get over yourself. Dan Scavino posts a picture of dogs, and people are like, what does this mean, Patriot? Is Mike Pompeo going to come back in the form of an anamorph dog and save America? No. You need to be a man and stop role-playing, Dungeons and Dragons, and face the Republican Party and realize they're slightly better than the Democrats, but they don't have this big mystique plan to save you, and they're not even pretending to anymore. So it's time for us to stop pretending and say, hey, we're going to vote for you, but we're going to draw the line here. People that you got Dan Crenshaw trying to cry about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Listen, Marjorie Taylor Greene might be one who flew over the cuckoo's nest, but I prefer her to Dan Crenshaw. She's more authentic, and she's more genuine, and she does more. Dan Crenshaw sucks compared to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So if he's trying to gatekeep what Marjorie does, bro, you've done nothing for medical freedom. You're crying, oh, I'm trying to test more because that's what Trump did. Well, Trump's policy sucked, and so does yours. And Marjorie Taylor Greene's right about that. So, that's the type of energy I have. It's like, if you're no more oh, you're the best, you're doing so much. No, you're not. We get it. It's fine. But overall, the Republican Party needs to be challenged, because a lot of them get there and they're just and it's like, no, dude, stop being Democrat lights, stop being censorship lights. Well, they censor racism, sexism, and xenophobia, and we censor anti-Semitism because we believe in free speech. No, you don't. We're passing legislation to fight Gab because we believe in free speech in Texas. No, you don't. You would be laughed off a stage in Texas 20 years ago. I think Bryson says it. A lot of people say it. It's like Republicans are Democrats from 10 years ago. Literally, you look at some policies that Trump passed in 2020, they're further left than Obama. But don't tell Trump supporters that, because they'll freak out at you. It's like, socialism sucks unless our party does it. Then I'll make excuses for it. It's like, okay, but printing trillions of dollars and incentivizing hospital visits with COVID doesn't lead to freedom. You know what I'm saying? Making new platforms that are already banning people, that's not how we get our free speech. we got to have our voices heard, and they got to know that, you know, we're onto the grift a little bit. I saw somebody I follow and somebody that I've met before, Anna Paulina. She's running for office, and she said that she's not going to take big pharma money, and that's cool. I'm bringing this up to compliment her. I think that's very cool that Anna says she's not taking big pharma money. But here's something interesting, you know, and that's, I think, a standard which would be great. It would be good to know that anybody I vote for is not taking big pharma money. So I support her on that. Donald Trump took $1 million from Pfizer in 2016. He took $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration, and then he put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of HHS. Why doesn't Donald Trump run on the platform that he's not going to take big pharma money? Because he already took millions of dollars from big pharma, and he's probably going to take more. But here's the thing. He doesn't have to say he won't take big pharma money because nobody challenges Donald Trump. It's like he's above everybody else. He's a god. You know, Anna Paulina shouldn't take big pharma money, but Donald Trump doesn't have. It's like he should do the same thing more than anyone because he already proved that he does take big pharma money unapologetically and then turns into a vaccine salesman. So, you know, people need to challenge Trump and these other people because it's like he's above having to do that now, but he's the first one who should be doing that, you know, because I'm almost positive at this point, if he took that much money from pharma before and he took it in 2020, he'll probably take more. He's done a lot for them. You know, he's probably helped the vaccine industry more than anybody ever. I mean, if you look at Operation Warp Speed and the CARES Act and the emergency that he declared, Donald Trump helped big pharma and the vaccine industry more than anybody. They owe him a lot, but they still don't give him credit. But he wants credit so bad. He's like, I did it. I'm the Gene Wilder. I'm Willy Wonka of vaccines. Please like me, media. Please, Bill Gates, love me. It's like, dude, whatever. All right, let's get to some questions. I'm gonna drink some water. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate it. Let me see where we at. 56 minutes. I'm going to keep it under an hour. All right. I'm going to just take off now, folks. I want to keep this under an hour. I'll answer questions and do stuff later. Hopefully you like this video and hopefully people start to be inspired. I'm not telling you what's right or wrong. You know, you need to make your own decisions when it comes to what you inject in your body and what you eat and what you drink. But take a look at and Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever you want to use. Take a look at some of the ingredients and preservatives, et cetera, in America that are banned in other countries and just consider it because, you know, clearly we can't just say polio, polio, polio. Like everyone's like, well, polio. It's like, what about cancer? What about diabetes? What about obesity? What about heart disease? What about, you know, what, like name like 50 other diseases and illnesses. Like half of them didn't even exist. You know, now everybody's jacked up on pills. You have ADHD. You have this. You're bipolar. You're this. You're that. Everybody's depressed. You know, everybody's on like Zoloft. It's like, does that not, you know, have people not made that correlation in their heads? It's like, look at the Center for Disease Control's history in the last 30, 40 years. Like you can't just say polio forever and act like there's nothing else going on. That's just my opinion. I hope people take care of themselves, look into a healthy lifestyle. And according to CNN and anybody with a brain, being healthier and less obese is even better at fighting COVID-19. Hopefully now all the maskies and the normies say, wow, CNN told me that if I get into better shape, it's better for COVID. Now I'm going to work out. It's like, I bet there's people like that, but how sad would that be? It took like a CNN article in 2022 for them to be like, oh, I never even thought of that when it comes to the equation of health. It's like, you didn't? Really? That's shocking, but understandable. Have a good one, folks. I'm gonna cut this off before an hour because it just looks longer when it's an hour. It's like a marketing tactic. I'm not trying to like sell you on anything, but if it's like $100, people are like, yo, I don't have the money. It's like $99.99. They're like, you got a deal, sir. That's why they do that. It's like a psychological thing. If you could do like $49.99, it seems small. If you have 58 minutes, like, oh, I could watch that, but it's like an hour and 3 minutes. People are like, geez, this guy won't shut the hell up. So I try to keep it short when I can. All right. God bless you guys. Have a good one. I'll be back.